I'm Dr. Bojack from Atlantic Chiropractic in Stoneham, Mass. Your posture doctor. Today we're going to talk about don't just sit there. So what we're literally going to talk about is posture in a seated position, which nowadays with the virus tends to be a little bit challenging. Okay, so first of all, what is posture? Posture is body's alignment at any given moment. So there's two types of posture, right? There's static and dynamic. The NHI, the National Health Institute, says that your static posture is when you're sitting, when you're standing, and dynamic is when you're moving around. My premise of those two definitions are a little bit different. Static is just that. When you're in a static motion, you're stagnant. Okay? So you're sitting in one position. You're standing in one position. You're bending over in one position. Okay? You're not moving. You're just static. Dynamic is a total different premise. A dynamic is there's motion and mobility going on. Okay? So that's what these new chairs and that's what a ball does. It makes you what? Move. So you don't get caught in a static, stagnant position. When you're dynamic and you're moving, your muscles are moving, your joints are moving, your disc spaces are getting nutrients. Okay? So that body is getting what? Pumped up, right? You want to pump up that body with dynamic motion so it stays functional, it stays healthy. And the body alignment stays healthy. So, two types of posture, right? Poor posture, good posture. Okay? And just like healthy teeth, the reason why somebody has healthy teeth in most instances is because they've developed healthy teeth habits, right? Or dental hygiene. So the same premise holds true for our posture, right? We have to have good habits or postural hygiene or spinal hygiene in order to maintain a functional spine. Okay? And those activities or what? Habits, right? So all we are as individuals are individual habits or distinct habits that we do repetitively day in and day out. We either have good habits or bad habits. We either have habits that work for us or habits that work against us. So just like in your teeth, right? You either have good brushing habits and eating good foods for your teeth, or you have bad dental habits. And the same thing holds true for our spinal hygiene or our spinal postures. So we have to have good habits in order to support this spine. Okay? And the number one thing for your spine is motion and mobility or movement or mechanics. Right? And the only way you're going to create that motion or mobility is through specific spinal adjustments or chiropractic adjustments. That's what's going to maintain the full mechanics of your structure as a result. Poor posture. So when you're in one stagnant position over a long duration of time can affect what? Your neck. And that neck irritation can lead to your shoulders. And that irritation can lead out into your arms, into your fingertips, so you get tingling, or you get loss of strength in your hands. It can irritate your mid-back, right? Because you have this rounded shoulders, we call that rounded shoulders. Anterior translation, that's getting real predominant for everybody nowadays, is this anterior translation or rounded shoulders. That can precipitate down to the low back. And from the low back, it can go into your pelvis. And from the pelvis, it can go into your knees or into your actual ankles. You can have aggravation. Okay? Consequently, because of this irritated posture, and now you have your head carriage is going forward, you have anterior translation, you have rounded shoulders going forward. Guess what? This thoracic cage, or your actual chest or sternum, goes forward or starts to go rounded, right? And what happens to these bags or these lungs? They start to get collapsed. And when those lungs get collapsed, your breathing suffocates. So now we're talking about functional integrity of this structure. And as your breathing decreases, what happens to your energy? Your energy goes down. So now you're feeling sluggish. You're slacking. You're just feeling lackadaisical. You don't have your energy. You're not sharp. Okay? Because you're not getting your oxygen. If you're not getting your oxygen, guess the part what's going on between your lid here is your brain's not sharp, or you're not thinking, right? You're foggy in regards to what you're thinking. You're messing up things that are not in order. You're thinking out of order. You're not keeping things in order. And because of that sternum starting to go forward, what happens? This stomach, right, has issues in regards to digestion. Now you're getting heartburn. Now you're getting bloatedness. Now you're getting queasiness. And you're getting upset stomach. Okay? And since it's Valentine's Day, we're going to use Snoopy here. Your pumper muscle gets aggravated, right? So maybe you're starting to get, you got timelines on certain projects, so now you're getting palpitations. Or you feel almost anxiety. Okay? Because of this rounded shoulders and this anterior translation. Just understand, this is a cavity or a cage. This cavity or cage gets compromised because the head goes forward, shoulders go forward. Now everything in the cage gets aggravated. The heart, the lungs, the stomach. Function. Neurology is function. Neurology gets compromised. Neurology gets irritated. Function of your hardware, of your organs, muscles, and tissues and glands get irritated. Change the wiring because of these postural irritations and distortions. Change the actual firing. Firing, the wiring determines the firing. And the firing determines the function. So now we got poor posture. And poor posture is determined by poor habits. And those poor habits you didn't start doing yesterday. You've been doing this for a period of time, right? As far as I know, most habits take at least 30 plus days with repetition or continuous activity in order to form those habits. Okay? So let's go into texting. Right? So when you're texting, okay, you're looking down. You got your iPad here, or your iPhone, and your head's down, or you got it horizontally and you're looking at it. So your head's down, your shoulders are down. Or you're slouched in the chair and you're looking at it. Okay? So you just look at this. If your head's down and you're slouching and you're looking at it, look at our postures. Okay? So that's why we're getting more and more young kids in here, just because they're poor postures in regards to their texting, and they're on their iPhones all the time, and they're constantly in poor habitual positions, which is creating more and more irritations and more postural distortions that we're seeing. And we go back to our sitting, right? So now because of the virus, guess what? You're at the dining room table. So the dining room table is either up here or it's way down here. And you got everything dispersed. The screen's not level, not eye level. So you're not looking up, you're looking down, looking mostly down or even. So same thing, right? You're perpetuating that head down, shoulders are forward, which causes those habitual habits. Now you're starting to get irritations in the mid-back. Mid-back is becoming more and more predominant. Breathing's becoming more and more predominant issue, right? And shoulder is becoming more and more predominant issue. And we're not going to go from 0 to 100, right? You're not going to go sit at your dining room table for 40, 50 hours a week and then just jump out and now you're going to go play tennis and you're going to feel great. Or you're going to go out there and run 5 miles. You're going to start taking these habitual postural patterns with you no matter where you go unless they're changed or reestablished or established motion and mechanics and movement in there. Okay, so now we got Sue. Okay, so Sue's sitting at her computer and look at her posture, right? She's got this rounded shoulder, right? So that roundedness, see that's what we're talking about. That's your rounded shoulders or your nursing home look or your anterior translation. This posture right here, that rounded shoulders, is the number one posture we're seeing in here. Because everybody's sitting wrong. Everybody's at the dining room. Most people are sitting wrong. Most people are at the dining room table. Most people are putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week in that seated position. Plus you got your kids yelling at you and you have your spouse, okay, getting irritated because the kids don't understand their lesson on their computer. So all these stresses are just compounded as a result. Okay, so there's your rounded shoulders or that anterior translation, right? And because of that, again, these organs are getting compensated because, again, those organs are in that cavity, right? Your heart, okay, your stomach, and your what? Lungs, those bags. So if we're gonna sit there, let's sit there in the right way versus the wrong way. So here's Lisa, and you can see the difference between Lisa and Sue. Okay, so Lisa's in an upright position. Okay, look at her elbows, they're 90 degrees. Okay, and look at her head. Her head's not down, her head's what? Even. So you want your head even looking at that screen, or what? Looking up. Because when you drop your head back, right, your head goes back. Remember, these two guys work together. So as soon as your head goes up, your shoulders go back. So let's look at that, right? You put your screen up, you look up, your shoulders go back, and your thoracic cage goes back. And guess what? Your sternum or the thoracic cage opens up, and when it opens up, what happens to your lungs? Your lungs open up, and your breathing opens up. Totally different. Versus that tension or tightness, right? So I remember some pharmaceutical commercial, like, it feels like a gorilla, right, or an elephant sitting on my chest. Well, that's what it feels like when you have this anterior translation or those rounded shoulders or those nursing home shoulders, okay? Now to feel that, right, real easy. You find yourself a flat wall and you stand up against the wall. So you should have 3 points that touch the back of your head and each of your scapula blades or your shoulder blades, right? Stuff your head up against that wall, stuff your shoulders against the wall, and now you can feel an upright posture. So you can anchor in an upright, healthy posture. That's what you should feel when you're sitting. So if you go into Susan's position, right, where the head's down, the shoulders are rolled forward, that's not what you should be feeling, and that's not healthy for you. This is the healthy position, right? The head coming back, the shoulders coming back, the sternum opening up, and you sitting up over your center of gravity. That's pretty difficult to do at the dining room table. I'll give you that much. And I can understand, I have compassion, and I can sympathize with a lot of your families and a lot of you guys out there working at your dining room table. It's difficult to find a healthy, functional way to sit at the dining room table. Because you know what? It wasn't meant to be used as a computer table. Right? So you're trying to turn something that's not functional for computer work into something that's computer work. Tough. Real tough. And depending on how long this epidemic and this virus lasts, it might be worth your while to invest in a better ergonomic desk. and for sure an ergonomic chair, right? That supports you. And we'll put out another video with it going over specific chairs and an ergonomic desk. So again, good postural check is again, head back, right? Back of your head touches the wall. Both your scapula blades are touching the wall. And you know what? You can just take a couple deep breaths. Breathe in, blow out. Your breathing shouldn't be from the top of your sternum. It should be in your plexus. That's where it should be. You should be taking your breath from your plexus, not from the top of your sternum and your chest. Your breaths shouldn't be short, choppy breaths. They should be nice, full, deep breaths. It's pretty difficult to get a full breath, though, when you're in this postural position. Right? That's what you're breathing. You're breathing in short, choppy breaths. Almost like you're gasping, you can't catch your breath. Okay? Because of this position doesn't create a functional spine and pleural cavity for it to work the way it needs to. Okay? Thanks for giving us your time. Have a Tilling Tuesday. We look forward to checking your posture at Atlanta Chiropractic in Stoneham, Mass. 781 Get Well. Love to talk to you. Thank you. Have a great night.